Today, I'm given this rare privilege and distinct honor to welcome each and every one of you who join us today to express our full support to our brother in arms, a fellow servant warrior who spent the best years of his life in the service of the Filipino people. Let me therefore acknowledge our brother, a true leader known for his bravery, honesty, great love and respect to our nation and its people. A gentleman, an officer, a Medal of Valor awardee, a proud member of PMA Matapat Class of 1979, no other than retired Colonel Ariel Quirubin, Philippine Navy Marines. At this point, let me reserve the honor of greeting our distinguished guests and friends to our keynote speaker. Today's gathering of servant warriors give us also the opportunity to honor our brothers who already retired and those who joined our Creator in the service of our nation. Once again, let me welcome you in today's gathering of servant warriors to express our support to Colonel Ariel Quirubin for his undying commitment for the welfare, safety, and prosperity of our nation. Thank you very much. Manifesto of Servant Warriors Support to retired Colonel Ariel Quirubin, Philippine Navy Marines. We, the former servant warriors of the sovereign Filipino people, proudly declare our unwavering support for the candidacy of retired Colonel Ariel Quirubin, Philippine Navy Marines, for Senator of the Republic of the Philippines. Known for his personal idealism and exceptional bravery, Ariel Quirubin was awarded the Medal of Valor for acts of conspicuous courage and heroism in combat while in the military service. In the course of his military career, he epitomized the core values of integrity and patriotism and continued to stand proudly and in camaraderie with the former and current soldiers, sailors, airmen, and marines of our country. Ariel Quirubin has lived by the practiced virtues and have now become imperatives for leaders of our country to possess in these perilous times, even as he fearlessly and selflessly defends the rights and freedom of our people. We support his obstinate belief and advocacies to achieve a more secure country, ready and able to defend our nation's security, integrity, and well-being. In times of adversity, Ariel Quirubin has stood firm in his beliefs and convictions, demonstrating a steadfast commitment to the welfare of our people and the security and prosperity of our nation. He played a crucial role in the private sector's response to the COVID-19 pandemic, demonstrating his commitment to public service and his ability to navigate challenging situations with resilience and dedication. His selflessness, honest, fair, and dedicated service to others have earned him not only the respect and admiration, but more importantly, that of the Filipino people. As we all confront the challenges of our time, we believe that Ariel Quirubin possesses the vision, integrity, and leadership necessary to bring about meaningful change to the betterment of our country and society. With his proven track record of service and sacrifice, we are confident that he will tirelessly advocate for and bring about the betterment of the lives of the Filipino people who remain to be underserved and helpless in life. We call on everyone to support and rally behind this exemplary servant leader who will work with us and for us a more courageous and compassionate Senate and a better and stronger Philippines. To God be the glory. Maraming salamat po.
I mentioned that because in EDSA 2, there was a group of officers who were deciding what to do with the present situation. We were veterans of EDSA 1 and EDSA 2. In EDSA 2, I was the last to go up on stage because I was talking with Miriam and asking her on what was the correct thing to do. And of course, she will give me a lecture on the constitutionality of trying to depose an existing president with a new one. When I went up the stage, I was given the biggest applause because I was introduced, I think, by Secretary De Villa as the brother of Miriam. So I got the biggest applause because EDSA 2 was supposed to be against ERA to be changed by Gloria. So I went up the stage, inakap ako ng mga babae doon, and I felt uncomfortable because the ladies were very good looking and they smelled very good. Ay magaling sa Corinthian, mababango, mamahalin yung mga pabango nun eh. Different from EDSA 1, when we crossed the EDSA, from Camp Aguinaldo to Camp Crame, ang sumalubong sa amin, mga artista. Pero mga 3 taon na, hindi, 3 gabi na hindi yata naligo, nakaka-standby. Medyo masama na yung amoy ko. Kaya naman kami doon sa EDSA 2. When I went up the stage, I was introduced by the MC as the brother of Senator Miriam. So I got a very big applause. And one very beautiful lady came up to me and said, "General, we are very happy you are here. We are very proud of you. Congratulations, General Santiago." Andito si Tagoy. Congratulations, General Santiago, sa akin. Sabi ko, thank you, ma'am. But excuse me, I'm not General Santiago. O sabi niya, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Colonel Santiago. Kaya siguro, okay yun dahil sa bata ang tingin sa akin, and we were able to push through with EDSA 2. But I would like to, first of all, congratulate the organizers of this rally. I'm a veteran of many rallies of my sister, and I cannot come out on the stage ngayon lang kasi I was in the active service. And when I listened to you, I was listening to her army, but her army were not military men. We had 6 generals in her lineup, all mayors led by General Abbott. But it was very difficult because she was up against heavyweights of the political world. She was up against a real leader of the political parties here. She was up against Tanding Cojuangco. She was up against Imelda Marcos. She was up against Speaker Mitra. She was up against, nangutang ko na si General Ramos. She was up against 6 heavyweights of the political scene, and that was the reason she ran, because she said, this is the only chance we have. The votes will be split, and I know I will get the youth and the poor people of this country. And sure enough, when the votes came in, she led in all the voting. She led the first day, second day, third day, up to the 6th day of the voting. She was leading, and she won in Metro Manila, and she won in all the bases of the military camps in the Philippines. We have a copy of the votes of all the military camps, and she won. She was number 1, number 2 was Tanding Cojuangco, number 3 was Imelda Marcos. In some votes, there was one vote in one precinct in Fort Bonifacio where the number 1 was Imelda Marcos. And when I checked, she got all the votes. Everybody got, I think, only 2 or 3. Miriam got about 7. She had, I think, 54 votes. And so I said, will you check that precinct, what that is? And we found out that that precinct was composed of Special Forces soldiers, puro Ilocano. Kaya Ariel, you are in good hands, because the Ilocano spirit is like the Visayan spirit. We vote by regions. That is perhaps the the manner of how Filipinos vote. But you are on the right track because you're using the phrase, push up ba yan? Push up? Push ups ba yan? Because when you will campaign, you will need a lot of push-ups and running. As a matter of fact, kailangan matibay ang kamay mo because you will be clapping your hands. You will be lending out your hand. It will be reached out by the audience and they will grab it and hold tight to it. So much so that if you are the main candidate, mabubugbog yung kamay mo, kamusta. But then, you will find that an audience like what we have here is the audience that will inspire you. And that is the reason why I am impressed with your appearance here, and I congratulate the organizers of this group for coming up with audience like this. Because it is a solidity that is shown by many officers, including those from the PMA and veterans of the 100 Night Show. I talked to Gabriel Liwa, sabi ko, ba't ang galing mo? Sabi niya, sir, ako ang chairman ng 100 Night Show sa PMA. Bagay na bagay ang gago. Because politics and entertainment are the same. Pareho ang audience mo, pareho ang appeal. So that is where you have to work on this. But today, I do not want to make this long. Last night, nag-usap na kami ni our sure senator, ni Ariel. We exchanged notes in the fighting in Mindanao. And I said, I did not know you were so impressive in your fights in Mindanao. Because I said, we were together when we were attacking Camp Sarmiento and Camp Abubakar, you were in the Oswagan. And we were both successful because we performed our missions well. But lamang ako sa iyo because in our fight, it was the first time I used lady pilots against the rebels. No country in the world, including Israel, were using female as their pilots to bomb and hit the target. And so that enraged the commander of the MNLF, and he said, General, mayabang ka. Ginagamitan mo kaming mga babae, hindi mo ba alam na sa religion namin, bawal yung babae to be used in combat. Sabi niya, you know what we will do? We will capture one of your lady pilots, torture her and show her, tie her to a tree, and you will suffer. So I said, get that reporter, I want to talk to him. And so he went to there and he said, Commander, you cannot capture my lady pilots. In the first place, you will not be able to identify my male and female pilots. Because my male pilots are as beautiful as my female pilots. But they do not talk like females. So, nakalusot kami doon, we were successful, and that was the exchange of notes, and that's why I am here, because I know what Ariel went through. We were in the same area, and we were practically binabad kami sa mga ganong areas because there was nobody else to be sent to those areas. So, I compared it to the campaign that we had. But since there are many cavaliers here, I would just like to share to you a speech which Miriam, my sister, made when she went to the PMA. And I think I have to use that speech because she can gather more crowds, she can get more votes than I can ever have in my life. So, with your indulgence, this is just a short one. I took excerpts of her speech when she was at the PMA. It goes like this. No person can fail to experience the thrill of looking out over the long gray line as I do today. For I address you not only as a society of students, not only as a fraternity of honorable young men, but also soldiers and gentlemen of the Cadet Corps, a secret circle of the best and the brightest in the culture of the military, with its awful threefold tradition of courage, integrity, and loyalty. I first came to this hall as a law student, accompanied by my parents. We came to visit my brother, who had just received his appointment as a cadet, the very first on both sides of our expansion. and justifiable proud family. He graduated with PMA Class 69, one of only 3 Sabre awardees, awardee of the Athletic Sabre and editor of the Core magazine. Editor of the Core magazine. I'd like to emphasize that because there are many members of the media here. I became editor because I was asked only one question by the then editor of our first class group. And the question was, how are you related to Miriam? And I said, sir, she is my sister. And he said, never mind the exam, you are the editor. That was their reputation before. And she became editor also of the Core magazine of the farm issue. I have risen to power in our own government, only to be humiliated by its power games. I was removed at the start of this year during a cabinet revamp. And for a time, I limped back home from the political wars, a victim gently nursing a wounded heart. That is why I accept your invitation, for it comes after I made my own inglorious exit through the 51 steps of the bloodthirsty battlefield we call politics. The vow of loyalty means, in our time, that the Corps of Cadets and alumni of the Academy cannot lend themselves to any enterprise that seeks to reform our society through a medium other than the Constitution. For this document is the magic sword of our people, Excalibur, the weapon that stays the enemy, but yet keeps intact the ethical values that we hold dear. Constitutionalism is the mystic challenge, that all young Galahadas must seek, for without its lambent benediction, the lambent landscape is littered with skulls and bones, and the profession of arms degenerates into nothing but a structured lust for power. Ironically, I was removed from government on suspicion that I was allegedly a sympathizer of the military rebels. My enemies designed a scenario of disloyalty based on the circumstance that when, as Commissioner of Immigration, I ordered the arrest and deportation of alien criminal syndicates, and my orders were implemented by my military assistants, who were all graduates of the PMA. But I was never disloyal, and I'm proud even now of our work together against corruption and criminality. You'll know that in her campaign speeches, she was attacking corruption. Instead, action was taken against me, outplayed by the Ponzi game by crafty masters of the art. The bureaucratic playing field is no longer level, for the opponents enter the game wearing the uniform of the home team. And yet society remains complacent and maintains silence where the toxins of alarm should have sounded long ago. Once upon a time, 2 cadets joyfully graduated from the PMA. They were best friends, and they went to UP in Diliman to attend my own graduation. In the manner of well-schooled young men, they were athletic and adept. They were blithe and boisterous. Then scarcely a few years later, they were went off to war to defend their country in Mindanao and other areas where they were needed. They served in many trenches but were never outfought. In the strong, stony silence of their long nights in the miserable fields and fetid jungles, they wrestled in their still youthful hearts with an infant, the one from home, for the sinister, malevolent lair of the enemy who was sworn to kill. And then one day, they carried on, each getting the highest presidential award for exceptional gallantry in action. And one fell from the sky, came hurling down and crushed to earth. A handsome man, still on the wings of youth, the early morning haze of the academy still on his brow, still the scent of flower and pine around him, and on his lips that were slowly turning blue, the 3 words of pain and sorrow, but also faith and hope, his shield and his epitaph, courage, integrity, and loyalty. Gentlemen of the Corps of Cadets, with the memory of that dying soldier, whom I loved as a brother, I swore to serve my country with courage as he did. That is why, although I may have fallen, have not lost faith, we are engaged in yet another battle that afflicts our people, the most crushing, but the noblest in your career and mine. The battle to raise the fallen spirit of the Filipino. We search for a hero, we look for the magic legend that will maintain us in this silence. And there, beyond the smoke and tumult of this silent but deadly war, we see once more the spirit of brave young officers rising in the wind, bearing aloft the banner on which history has inscribed the secret of victory. Courage is the will to win. I end this phrase with a little story. Many of you here served with me in Clark Development Corporation. Chairman, President, Directors. Many of you here were with me before that big Pogo incident came out. When we were there, there was no such thing as Pogo because we disallowed that. They did not want us to inspect, but we broke down the doors, cleared it, and many of them are the classmates of Ariel Quirobin who were with me. With me were another Medal of Valor awardee is Art Ortiz here. I think he is here. Another was James Francisco, who was our Chief of Security. When we were there, wala yung mga pogo-pogo na yan, hindi obra sa amin yun. One by one, we were removed. Nung nawala kami doon sa Clark Development Corporation, lumabas na itong mga go at saka mga pogo na yan, just beside us. And that was because I think they were no longer afraid because we will smash their buildings if we were there. That is why I support the candidacy of Ariel. And I will commit to you the strength of the People's Reform Party, the youth, which was Miriam's biggest electorate and supporters. You will like the youth because they will go with you. Kahit walang pera, kahit walang pagkain, they will campaign for you. That is the experience that we have learned. That is the experience that we will share with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that speech and endorsement. Thank you for the support that you are giving to Colonel Ariel Quirobin. We are happy that you are here, General Defensor.
Magandang umaga sa inyo lahat. Minabuti kong umpisahan ang aking pagsalita sa wikang Pilipino upang patunayan na taliwas sa sinabi ng aking gusta, si Greg Macapagal, ako po ay hindi in-check. At alam hindi ako espiya ng China. Ako po ay first and foremost ay isang tunay na Pilipino. Tan nga ang aking apelyido pero Pilipino ako. Bisdak nga lang. Anyway, kidding aside, I am here in this event dubbed as the gathering of warriors. First, as the organizers of Envision, to hear the call for unity and heroism amidst the threats in the West Philippine Sea and to our national security. And secondly, of course, to give a testimony to the man we are endorsing today on his candidacy for senator in the midterm election in 2025 next year. You know, sometime last week, Sir Rex Ricomono asked me if I'm okay to give a testimony in today's event. I initially hesitated, not because I don't want to do it, but because we'll be having a board meeting of the PMRI at the same time today. I just told Sir Rex that I will check my schedule first. I will just inform him later on. But because I believe in the man we are endorsing today, I didn't want to miss the opportunity. I informed Sir Rex the day after that yes, I will be honored to give a testimony for Sir Ariel Oliva Quirobin during this launching ceremony. So here I am with you all today. Absented myself from the PMRI board meeting, but I am sure my fellow PMRI directors will understand. Well, you have heard the testimonies of my General Defensor and also my predecessor, Admiral Liwag, on our honoree, and must have known already the many exploits of Sir Ariel, be in the battlefield or in the corporate world. highlighting his distinguished military career, his commitment to public service, and his vision for a united and progressive Philippines. I will not anymore dwell on those accolades of our honoree, not because they don't matter, of course not. In fact, with these achievements of Sir Ariel, foremost as the recipient of the country's highest military award for courage, the Medal of Valor, and being considered as the most decorated soldier in the Philippines, this surely could help you or get our man elected to the Senate of the Republic of the Philippines. I therefore ask every one of you here, my seniors, my contemporaries, my juniors, to support and help our man get elected as a senator next year. With his qualifications, achievements, and wealth of experiences, I proudly endorse Sir Ariel to you all, knowing that with the caliber of a man that he is, he will surely perform very well and will do his job outstandingly for the good of our country and people. No more the likes of some mediocre or ordinary people in the Senate. No more actors, nor convicted plunderers, masquerading as champion of the people, when in reality they are not. We should support and elect a person to the Senate whom we know is a warrior and a hero of the country, who will help us fight through this strategic war in reforming our society of evil doings, especially by most corrupt politicians. So let's not stop from here, but rather let's sustain these efforts we have just started and have a very successful campaign for Sir Ariel. Let us ask the support and votes not only of our families and relatives, but of all our friends as well, and everyone else, for the man, our man, Ariel Kerubin. Throughout his military career, as written in Wikipedia, Colonel Ariel Kerubin played a significant role in several legendary exploits and political movements that helped shape the history of the military and its role in an emerging global society. He was not only an excellent warrior in the jungles, fighting terrorism and insurgency, but he also represented a class of thinking Filipino soldiers, imbued with a sense of idealism, willing to take urgent measures to assert their beliefs about the country's future. Sa panahon ngayon, ang ating bansa ay napapaligiran ng lahat ng pagsusubok. Sa aking pagninilay, bagamat sunod-sunod ang mga pabansang suliranin, yung mga pugo na sinabi ni General Bensor, yung issue on Chinese penetration in our business sector, at iba pa, lalo na sa nangyayari sa West Philippine Sea. But panatag ang aking loob na sa lahat na ito ay tagumpay nating malulutas palang araw. Sapagkat sa dating na taon, sa election in May 2025, may isang tao na tatakbo para mahalal bilang senador, able and willing to serve and lead us in having changes ang tunay na pagbago sa ating bansa. Ako'y nagpupugay sa inyong lahat ngayon, lalo na sa ating honoree. I am confident of your capabilities, Sir Ariel. Rest assured of our whole support to you from here on until you get elected, and even beyond that, perhaps for a higher office later on. And I assure you, if we are united and coordinated on these efforts of ours, we shall achieve our purpose. Mabuhay si Senator Ariel, mabuhay tayong lahat.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to stand before you today to speak about a remarkable individual, Colonel Ariel Kerubin. Though my time working with this esteemed officer and gentleman of the Marine Corps was brief, the impact he made is nothing short of extraordinary. As Superintendent of the Marine Corps Training Center, Colonel Kerubin's contribution to the Corps, where he has dedicated much of his life and passion are truly incomparable. Colonel Kerubin's career as a military officer has been an open book, not just to the armed forces of the Philippines, but to the entire nation. Despite facing challenges during his active service, he exemplifies the true spirit of an officer and a gentleman. Rather than vocally defending himself as others might, he chose to silently and steadfastly prove his detractors wrong through his actions. During his tenure as senior officers of the Philippine Marine Corps, leading our troops in countless battles, I've witnessed in him a man of unparalleled honor and dignity. His focus was never on the controversies surrounding him, but on the welfare and advancement of our men, particularly those on the front line units. He instilled in us the core values of our chosen career with unwavering dedication. Colonel Kerubin embodies true leadership. He has shown us that a great leader is more participative than directive, more enabling than performing. He taught us that the first responsibility of a leader is to define reality, and the last is to say thank you in between leader master. His humility, soft-spoken nature, and willingness to listen to everyone's concern demonstrate his deep commitment to the betterment of not just our men, but to the entire institution. This is the hallmark of a true leader, one who keeps his ears, eyes, and heart open to his subordinate. With immense appreciation and respect, the entire enlisted corps of the command, representing the best in soldiery, commends you, Colonel Kerubin, sir. We salute you with our highest and proudest honor for a job exceedingly well done. Aye, sir. We offer our prayers for the fulfillment of dreams of Colonel Kerubin. Carry on, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank God, I'm not alone in this journey. It warms my heart to stand before all of you today in this historic Hall of Club Filipino, where our nation's history has been shaped and the dreams of the Filipino people have been forged. This place is more than a venue. It is a symbol of our shared journey and collective aspirations. Truth to be told, all of us here stood on different sides in many pivotal moments of our nation's history. From martial law to EDSA, from the 1989 coups to EDSA II and III, from Oakwood to the Marine standoff and the Manila Peninsula siege. Through the presidencies of Ferdinand Marcos, Cory Aquino, Fidel Ramos, Joseph Estrada, Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, Noynoy Aquino, Rodrigo Duterte, and Bongbong Marcos. We have witnessed and participated in the challenging yet resilient journey of our beloved Philippines. Yet, despite our varied allegiances and experiences, we gather here today not as allies of many political factions, but as brothers in arms who have once and always will put our lives for our children, families, and fellow Filipinos. We stand united in our service to the Philippines, in our service to God. We find ourselves at a crossroads. Our people are frustrated by the pervasive issues that plague our daily lives. The continued corruption in some government agencies that undermines our progress. The persistent poverty that denies many Filipinos the chance for a better life. And in the inadequacies of our infrastructure that stifle our growth. The high inflation rate that drives up the cost of consumer goods, making life more difficult for the ordinary Filipinos, adds to our collective burden. The bullying in the West Philippine Sea threatens our sovereignty, while the proliferation of illegal pogos brings social issues that affect our communities. And the call for the modernization of our military to secure our nation and uphold our sovereignty with the respect it deserves is nothing short of urgent and vital for our survival as a free nation. Sawa na ang ating mga kababayan sa gutom at hirap. Sawa na tayo sa patuloy na pagtaas ng bilihin, sa kawalan ng trabaho para sa ating mga manggagawa. Sawa na tayo sa pang-api at panggigipit sa ating mga karagatan. Sawa na tayo sa pang-aabuso, pagmamalabis at pagnanakaw ng ilang nasa kapangyarihan. It is precisely these frustrations that fuel our desire for change, for a better future. We must channel our collective discontent into a force for positive transformation. We must harness our shared hope for a brighter tomorrow into concrete actions that will uplift our nation and our people. As we look ahead to 2025, let us remember that our mission transcends mere electoral success. It is a quest for the soul of our nation. It is a struggle to rekindle the flame of patriotism in every Filipino. To remind ourselves and our fellow countrymen that the Philippines is worth fighting for. Our history is a testament to our resilience and our capacity to rise above adversity. Kaisa po ninyo ako sa pagguhit ng kinabukasan kung saan ang demokrasya, hustisya, ginhawa at kapayapaan ay hindi lamang mananatiling hangarin, ngunit magiging realidad. I express my deepest gratitude to all of you for placing your trust in me as we approach the crucial elections of 2025. The election represents more than a political contest. It is a pivotal moment to restore the faith and truth of our people in our democratic processes. It is a call to reinvigorate the spirit of nationalism and patriotism within us. A spirit that compels us to live, fight, and if need be, die for our country. As we have demonstrated on the battlefields many times over. To my esteemed colleagues, you are my inspiration in this endeavor. We may have had our differences, and I acknowledge that I am not a perfect candidate. However, your presence here today, your unwavering support, and your belief in what we can achieve together are the pillars upon which I stand. Thank you for sharing my vision for the Philippines, the vision of building a nation of heroes, isang bayang handang magsakripisyo at kayang ipaglaban ang Pilipino mula sa mga mang-aapi. Maraming salamat sa tiwala. Maraming salamat sa inyong suporta. Maraming salamat sa inyong walang hanggang pagmamahal sa ating bayang Sinilangan. Together, we will march forward with hope in our hearts and the unyielding determination to build a nation that we can all be proud of. Ako si Ariel Querubin, sundalo, Pilipino. Sa tulong ninyo, maninilbihan tayo sa Senado. Mabuhay ang ating sandatahang lakas, kapulisan, at ang Coast Guard. Mabuhay ang sambayanang Pilipino. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas!